Good evening, welcome to Radio Woking. How you doing? Thank you very much for tuning in, because we all know TV's much better, so we do appreciate you listening. Tonight, well, I'm really not sure what to expect. I've got a private investigator in the studio with me, Rebecca Senghore. We're going to be talking about all about that, all about what's involved, and I'm expecting some pretty hairy stories. I don't know, she's got a little bit of experience under her belt. So Rebecca is here, and of course, as you know, all the guests on the studio choose the tunes, and there's a real mix today, and we're going to open up with Johnny Cash. This is The Ring of Fire. Johnny Cash on Radio Woking, and that's chosen by my guest, Rebecca Senghore. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Thanks for coming in. So you are a private investigator, and you're the first one I've properly met, and very intrigued to know more. Sure. So firstly, what are you doing at the moment? What are the sort of main things that you're doing?
So we mostly do surveillance. That's probably our number one job at the moment.
Yeah.
Anything from like cheating spouses or employees that are moonlighting, that kind of thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I could be a disgruntled partner and just say, I think my missus is cheating, ring you up and say, is she?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. And we'll go and follow her and see what she's doing.
Oh, wow. Is that legal? You're allowed to do that?
It is. It's a grey area, obviously.
Okay.
You can't go into someone's property or anything like that.
Right.
But, yeah, you can. Yeah, I mean, it's a free country. If you're walking along the same street for a couple of hours, it's fine.
And then are you like? I mean, you must be worried about getting caught, or
yeah, you have to be careful about that. But it's actually quite surprising that people don't notice that you're following them actually for a very long time.
I don't think I would. Like, if literally someone was like taking photos out of a car window, I don't think I'd notice.
No one really does.
Everyone's going to be noticing.
They will now, yeah.
And you know, I mean, there must be a buzz. It must be pretty exciting.
Yeah, especially like on foot surveillance. So following after someone, and you don't know where they're going to go. I've been in London, hopping on tubes and things like that, and you just have no idea what's coming up next.
Now, what's the distance? What's the distance you're behind someone?
Well, do you know what? Sometimes you end up bumping into them, things like that. So you just have to pretend you're a regular member of the public, and they really don't suspect it. I mean, I've had a woman at the traffic lights next to me, and I'm like, all right, and then just she crosses, and I follow her again.
Take a photograph of her.
Yeah, exactly. So
that must be the tricky bit, is actually then getting the photos, because everything's about proof, isn't it?
Exactly.
Do your clients ever take your word, or do they always want proof?
Well, we always give them proof, to be honest. We always give them reports. If we can't get a picture because it's too obvious, we'll just put in there and explain why we couldn't do that. But usually, especially with camera phones these days, it's quite easy to pretend you're texting.
You could be like,
exactly.
Or
pretend you're on the phone.
Someone,
that's it, isn't it? Yeah. So it's actually quite easy now. We don't have the SLRs.
Has it made you a little bit worried about what goes on in society in terms of some people are pretty horrible to their partners and stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of made me think a lot of people lie, which is that's pretty terrifying. It is quite terrifying, but not everyone. Sometimes people are proven wrong as well. You know, people that are paranoid that their partner's cheating and they're actually wrong. So it can work the other way.
I've never been in a relationship where I haven't had complete trust, and I think it would be horrible if you just suddenly got wind of something.
Exactly,
it must eat you up.
It must do as well. So I mean, we do provide some closure as well for people, which is great, I suppose.
So if they have been cheating and then they've got the proof, I knew it. And
we never find out what happens next is the only thing. So you give them the proof and you usually don't hear back, but you assume they either work through it.
Do you want to?
You do kind of want to, yeah.
Okay. Listen, Rebecca's here, and listen, if you haven't got any questions for Rebecca, then you know what's wrong with you. Be safe while you're out there trick-or-treating tonight. I went to a Halloween party at the weekend when someone said the scariest creature that will be on the streets tonight would be Jimmy Savile, so he was dressed up as him at the party. All right, it was me. It was a terrible outfit. And as you know, all the songs chosen. How come we're playing Fleetwood Mac next? This is a tune you like.
It's just a classic.
You just love rocking out. You're listening. This is the interview show with Roy Allaway, and tonight Rebecca Senghore. Roy Allaway on the interview show on Radio Woking. Good evening to you. Joined by Rebecca Senghore, a private investigator, and we will talk about how you got here. As obviously you didn't, leave school and want to be a private investigator. I'm only saying that because I know you didn't. You did other things. But you are one now. So we've gone through what you do sort of on a regular basis. Tell us about some of the really interesting cases that you know about?
Sure. Well, I haven't been doing it that long, so I've done quite a few interesting cases, but the most interesting one's probably the ones my boss has told me about. He's been doing it for 22 years. So, for example,
Nigel, if he's listening.
Yes, Nigel. He's in Nicaragua at the moment. So,
okay. Yeah. Is that work related, or is he having a holiday?
No, he's having a holiday.
Oh, fair enough.
But yeah, no, he's done so much. We've had cases where we've tried to help people get out of prison in Spain. We had to prove that they weren't at the scene of the crime because there was pictures of them at the same time, and the shadows in the picture meant that they were somewhere else at that time of the crime. So things like that, really interesting cases.
So something like that, they're incarcerated and they've literally gone on the internet looking for a private investigator. Yeah. I mean, how many private investigators are there? I mean,
in the UK, it's in the thousands, but it's not a common profession, and abroad especially. So in Spain particularly, there's not many, and
right. So he's incarcerated.
Yep.
He's got hold of you guys and said, "I didn't do it. Get me out."
Yeah.
And then you've just gone through everything.
Yeah, I mean,
do you get the particulars of the case? Can you speak to the solicitors? How does it
work? We found it was quite difficult working with the Spanish law enforcement, but we worked with the solicitors. Nigel, he got everything together, all the evidence together, went through their statements, and he just found where we could prove that they weren't there at that particular time. There were certain details, like they remembered watching a film at a certain time, and we managed to prove that film was on show at that time, and things like that. So it's kind of just thinking about the way you can prove things, and sometimes you have to think a bit outside the box, really.
Yeah, sure. Tell us about the porn case. This sounds fascinating.
Yeah, so it was a porn ring. It was an ex-police officer working out in his kitchen, and it was a wife of one of the porn stars who was also a producer that wanted to sort of find out what was going on, and Nigel had some colleagues sort of go undercover. They didn't have to do anything, but they had to pretend that they were looking...
What, like a stunt willy or something like that?
Yeah,
to try and get on set?
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah,
you're looking for any more? No, sorry, I wouldn't do that. It's way too small.
No, it was a long time ago now. But it's just those kind of things. You kind of really have to think outside the box. How can we get into this case? Yeah, really interesting.
Cool. Are there any cases from, I'm going to put you on the spot a bit, any cases from history that you'd wish you'd been involved with, and, anything sort of... things like the Great Train Robbery, and are you more sort of covert kind of?
I don't know. I love murder mysteries, but obviously we don't get those. That's the one area that's completely fiction, really, on TV. But I love.
But a murder
that.
case as well, I guess you wouldn't get involved with. It's too serious.
Yeah, it's too serious, isn't it? Sometimes we do cross over with sort of criminal investigations, but that's very rare. And a murder, no,
definitely. And are the police generally quite receptive if you're sniffing about? Do they appreciate the help, or do they leave it to us? Or
not so much. They can be, it's usually civil matters that they've not got time or resources for anyway. Okay. So I wouldn't say they're grateful, but it's just one of those things they don't have time for. So we often help with that, especially with businesses. If money's been stolen, things like that, we can assist. Especially with computer forensics, that's something we really specialise in. Oh wow, okay. Yeah.
Hold that thought, we'll come back. If you do want to ask Rebecca a question, you can do it via Twitter at Radio Woking, or old school via the email studio@radiowoking.co.uk. This song never got to number one, an absolute tragedy, but love it. How did that not get to number one? That is a travesty. Chosen by Rebecca Senghore. That is Ultravox and Vienna. Good choice. Loving your tunes so far. Yeah. So you talked about your computer stuff is sort of a growing market, and you're pretty good at it. What kind of things can happen there?
So we can extract sort of data that's been deleted from a computer. Often people try and cover up what they've been looking at and things like that. So we can...
But do they?
Well, I don't know.
Surely it's much better to do it all on your phone. But anyway, that's another subject.
And also with mobile phones, we can sort of rebuild them. There you go. Oh, man. So we can rebuild them and find out what's been going on there. But I mean, we can't do that unless someone's given us permission. But so we can't just hack into people's phones randomly.
Fair enough.
Yeah, so don't worry.
And I'm pretty sure most people aren't going to give you permission unless they're thinking you won't find anything.
Exactly. So, with computers, obviously, we've had cases where it's the company that owns the computer, so they have ownership, so we can do that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Even if it's an employee that's looked up looked up things. Yeah.
Okay, so if I had staff, I should provide the computer, and then I can find out what's going on if they had their own.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'll see what the budget is. And tell us about. I mean, obviously, you might be a bit restricted, but what are you literally working on at the moment? Is there anything?
It's not been a very busy week, actually, but I've got surveillance on Saturday. It's an inheritance matter, so I'm just trying to find out. A lady's contacted me and she wants me to find out what's going on with some other members of the family. Can't go into too many details, but that's essentially it. Just sort of trying to overhear the conversation.
And do you do that? Have you got like a remote hearing device?
It's not a remote hearing device. It's
you bug people?
I can't bug people, unfortunately. No.
Oh, why not?
I know. It's not legal.
James Bond's not very realistic.
It's not. It's quite. It's quite basic, really.
Okay.
So I'm basically going to try and get as close to them as possible. If they're in a restaurant, I'll try and sit on the next table and listen in.
And then record the...
Yeah, exactly. And then record
amazing.
it. If I can't record it, and I'll just transcribe it when I get back to the office.
And in terms of... And this is for the person to get the information, but in terms of court matters and that, you'd need permission to record people, don't you? Or you need to tell them?
Yeah. You couldn't just use that.
You couldn't just go up to them and record them. What about all these private investigators, all these brilliant TV programmes where they catch people and stuff?
Yeah, I mean...
It's a grey area, isn't it?
It's a very grey area,
Very exciting area.
Yeah, very exciting area, yeah.
We're going to keep an eye on a few things tonight, Rebecca. Firstly, the Champions League. Chelsea are 2-0 down against Roma in the first half. And in the other games there, Man United are drawing 0-0. We've got a shooting in New York. Unfortunately, a guy drove past a school and fired some shots. No reports of any deaths, but a few people down. And one thing that we found amazing, didn't we, when we were looking, a company is to give non-smokers paid leave for lost cigarette breaks. So... I was shocked at how much leave they're getting. So if you're listening and you work with a load of people that smoke and go out 3 or 4 times a day, you could get an extra 6 days holiday.
6 days. I'm owed quite a bit then.
I'm owed loads over the years.
Yeah, I know, right?
Mind you, I've more than got it back in toilet time, so I don't know, anyone that's worked with me should get a few months back from the amount of time I spend in the toilet. I remember once there was a bang on the door and it was the MD. Allaway, get up! And basically, I'd fallen asleep on the toilet. And when I got out, everyone had put posters on the toilet door saying, Roy's sleeping and stuff like that. It was a particularly bad hangover. So Rebecca's here. She's a private investigator and we'd love to ask her some questions. So let us know what you think. Going to have a little break and we'll be back with her next song. Hoobastank. Is that the right way? Am I saying that right?
Yeah, Hoobastank.
The reason on Radio Woking, Rebecca Senghore is a private investigator. Bit of a career change. So let's go back to the beginning. Where did you grow up? Where was that?
I grew up in Godalming, actually, yeah. So I've been there most of my life.
Did you do uni?
Yeah, I did uni. I did history. I don't know how I've got here, but just sort of tried out various jobs. Prior to this, I was a paralegal. I enjoyed it, but I need something that's just like hands-on.
Yeah. And
this job is just, it's full on. You kind of have free reign of things as well, which I really like.
Yeah. Fair enough. Where did you go to uni?
Kingston. Yeah, so not far. That was great. And I've nearly completed my master's in law, which I do part-time as well.
Okay.
Via Open Uni.
Respect. Let's fist pump there. I have a master's myself, completely useless in radio. Yeah. But, and your master's in law?
Yeah.
Is that something you're going to apply to your work?
Yeah, I mean, law comes up all the time. So, respecting the legal boundaries is really important as a private investigator. So, yeah, it's definitely relevant. Do process serving. So I did one of those last Friday, where you serve legal documents to someone.
As part of your private investigatory role.
And you kind of have to be a bit sneaky about it. Oh, I've got a parcel for you, and smiley face, give it to them, then tell them what it is. And the guy was like, I don't want it. I was like, I can't take it back. It was like a hot potato. So that's kind of how it works.
The elephant in the room kind of thing. Do they have to sign for it, or is it?
Nope. As long as you've handed it to them, they've been served. So
you've been served, off the TV.
Yeah, exactly.
What do you do about bad reactions? I mean, is it?
You just never know how things are going to go. Like that, I really didn't expect that. I mean, he got really angry and he wanted to give it back, and he shut the door and put it by the door, but I'd already done my bit. You kind of just have to wing it a bit. Most people are fine, but you do get the odd one.
Of course you're going to get the odd one. Tell me about your training. So day one, you're a private investigator, and to us non-knowers, brilliant phrase, we're thinking about all the exciting stuff, but there's probably a bit of admin and a bit of
definitely
paperwork.
Definitely, there's always paperwork, especially with process serving, things like that.
What kind of training did you go through?
It was mostly shadowing my colleagues, actually. It's one of those jobs you really
James?
do. Harry, Nigel, Steve, and we've got Andy in another office and some other investigators sort of scattered around the country. But it was mostly literally just following them and just picking up like that. So there isn't any formal training, I would say, as such. Yeah.
And one of the things I asked you, and I didn't have time to watch them, but what kind of programs are sort of similar to what you do? Where can people gel up? They want to come and join your ranks.
No, it's quite difficult. I mean, I love Veronica Mars, which is probably not very reflective of what we do, but it is, being nosy, figuring out what people are up to.
Okay.
I don't know. Obviously, people always go for Sherlock Holmes, don't they? But that's a classic.
If you guys were just dressed up out of the
we
Woking
were indeed.
Business,
looking very silly.
Business show. You look really cool. Made an effort.
I mean, I wouldn't say there's any particular program that's reflective of what we do exactly. It's all glammed up, as is everything. But it's a general gist of it. Trying to think outside the box and put all the clues together.
Yeah, brilliant. And give your business a plug.
Absolutely. If you have any issues, personal, marital issues, we do try and get you the answers that you need. We also work with businesses as well. Again, trying to work with you and figure out how we can help you. We really do just try and provide answers. We think outside the box, so there's no problem that's too big or small, really.
What are the details? How can they get in contact?
You can give us a call on 01483 200 999.
Website?
It's www.answers.uk.com.
And you're called Answers Investigations?
Answers Investigation, that's one.
Some people do take the mick. There are people that take days off. Things like employers that, I guess, when you've got a gut feeling about something, that's when you should act.
Definitely.
And if you think someone's off sick but they're not off sick, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and also sort of getting ahead of things. We were discussing earlier, weren't we, sort of court disputes and things like that. If you think, something might come up, try and get the evidence before that happens, really. We have lots of child custody matters, inheritance matters, so if you need help with that, give us a call.
Answers Investigations. Rebecca's here. This is her next tune. The Libertines on Radio Woking. Chosen by tonight's guest, Rebecca Senghore. And Rebecca is a private investigator. So what's the dream gig? So something comes in and Nigel goes, Rebecca, this one's for you.
Dream gigs are abroad, definitely.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
We do get foreign commissions.
We do, yeah.
Is that not a bit more scary? Because I'd love the comfort of being in England and knowing about pubs and suddenly you're abroad.
Yeah, absolutely.
Would you not feel a bit more exposed?
Definitely. I mean, I wouldn't do it on my own at this point, but Nigel knows his way around quite a few countries that we get. So, I mean, we've had cases in Morocco, Tenerife, Paris, So I'm really looking forward to a holiday one day.
An international lady of mystery. It's not a holiday, you'd be working.
Oh, yeah, but you'd take an extra day, wouldn't you?
You would.
You would
take an extra day. And what kind of... what would be the context of the case? What would be interesting for you? Usually
people tracing people. We've had an inquiry about Morocco this week, actually, a guy trying to find out about his son's bride-to-be, sort of find out, I guess, whether she's, who she says she is.
Really?
Yeah.
So he's got some doubts?
Yeah, he's got some doubts. He's given us a bit of information and he wants us to go over there and find us. So that might go through, which would be fantastic.
And then if you got some footage of her with another man or doing something dodgy...
Yeah, you give that straight over and let them deal with that, yeah.
Wow. Is there any guilt attached with anything you do at any time?
Yeah, there is a bit. Obviously,
but surely, if you're finding the truth, then
there's that element. You kind of balance it out. Well, at the end of the day, it's the truth. We don't make these answers.
You don't make
it is
people
what it
do
is.
stuff.
Yeah, exactly. But there is an element of okay, it's a bit sad, for the person. But there's also good stuff. So we do trace adopted, so adopted kids might come to us and try and trace their birth family, or people that want to be reunited, people they've lost touch with. So there are pros as well.
Right, I've got two schoolmates, William Hull and Andrew Fellows. I can't find them on Facebook.
Really?
It's a nightmare.
Oh, no.
Sort me out.
Yeah, I'll help you. If you can't find someone on Facebook, that's it, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. That's game over. I'm just trying to think if there's anything in my life where, I've got old horrible bosses as well. Let's get them sort of, with their pants around their ankles would be quite funny.
We actually had a guy the other week that wanted us to track down some old bosses of his to find out why he gave them a bad reference. So we do get that, actually,
because you're not actually allowed to do that these days.
No, but
references are totally pointless.
That's
it's just basically saying, he worked here.
Yeah, I'm not sure what exactly happened. It was all very shady, and we didn't really get his side of the story either. But he had a bone to pick with them, and he wanted us to go and confront them. They couldn't even remember him, so it was a bit awkward.
Do you think you're a bit nosy?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean,
so I'm one of these. If I go into anyone's house, I just really want to look around.
Yeah, definitely.
Should have been an estate agent.
Yeah.
So I think I'm quite nosy. I just find all that fascinating.
Yeah, that's it, isn't it? This job is very nosy, but that's what I love about it. I mean, I love my celebrity news and stalking the celebs. That would be my dream job.
Okay. Well, listen, if you make it the top as a PI, they'll be stalking you. Rebecca's here, and her tune, next one, is from Blondie. This is One Way or Another. Rebecca rocking the airwaves with her choices tonight. That was Blondie, One Way or Another. You're listening to Radio Woking. Coming up, we have got tomorrow night, We Love Woking with Jackie and Zahir. Love that programme. The festival feature with Alex Tompkins before that. And the What Show with Keith Woodhouse, and the Forey Bird Show with Elaine McGinty on Thursday. It's all about different types of shows, so have a tune in. If go online, radiowoking.co.uk, if you want to find something different. Also got to announce tonight, Go Fest, that fantastic festival where you pay a few quid and you can do 40 or 50 sports or dances and stuff like that, is 2018. The date's been announced. It's July the 21st and 22nd at the Surrey Sports Park. Rebecca is here. Your Twitter handle, @AnswersPI. So people can just tweet you and say, absolutely. Help me.
Yeah, do. Tweet away.
Yes, tweet away or whatever. We're both rubbish on social media, aren't we? And you're a private investigator. We worked in the same industry. You did life insurance for a little while. Are you embarrassed to talk about that? Or is it all right?
No, it's fine.
Perfectly acceptable.
History.
From university, you studied history. Did you do anything else? You've done a few jobs.
Yeah, I've just done a few jobs. Dabbled in a bit of everything. Yeah, a bit of life insurance, a bit of law, but yeah, no, I've always been interested in private investigator. It's just one of those jobs you don't really think is a real job.
No.
I kind of typed it in and didn't expect anything to come up, and then I clicked apply and I got it, and I was just, I was like, all right then, that's it.
What do you think skills you had in the interview that made you stand out? You're obviously intelligent.
Yeah. Oh, thank you very much.
It's all right, someone else told me. I can't see it, but yeah, go on.
It's on my CV.
Did you like hide in the corner of the room? They're like...
Actually, finding the office is a good one, because it's actually quite difficult to find. It doesn't come up on the sat-nav. So that's probably the first test.
Yes, then I passed that one.
Came in. I don't know, I think you have to be slightly odd, probably. So
fair enough. You are slightly
odd. Yeah, I think it's a prerequisite to being a private investigator.
And the guys that you work with, what particular skills do they have apart from being slightly odd?
Slightly odd. They're all slightly odd.
Can find the office.
So we've all got different skills. So we've got Nigel specialises in tracing. Andy specialises in.
So what's tracing? Because for me, it's when you put a bit of paper on top with it and then rub it all over. Because you don't mean that.
No, not that.
Okay.
No, literally finding someone using online databases.
Friends Reunited, is that still going?
Yeah. There's various databases you use. Sometimes it's quite old school. You have to go up to the British Library. Yeah, you can. You know your stuff.
Yeah. You should live opposite. I did.
Did you? Okay, yeah. So, I mean, it can end up quite long-winded, and you can have to go to the British Library and go through birth and marriage and death records, things like that. And you kind of have to... There is really a logical sequence to it as well to try and figure out how you got to the result. And sometimes it might not be what you expect. It goes off track. But tracing is really complicated, actually. Yeah, I'm only just touching upon it now myself.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's Nigel's expertise.
That's Nigel's expertise. Andy, his fingerprints, which I can take fingerprints, but I haven't learned how to do analysis yet, which is something I'm really keen to get training for. And that's, dusting it off things and then comparing it with other prints as well. What else? So me and Harry kind of specialise in surveillance, I guess, with the young'uns that go on the run and do that.
Are you you're almost like cops in that we can always see you with a burger?
Absolutely, yeah.
Stuff on the go and drop you off some donuts.
There are so many crumbs in my car.
Yeah.
No, that's definitely
you can
me.
Trace the crumbs, can you?
You can trace the crumbs to me.
It's Harry again. Crumbing up my car.
Yeah, that's definitely. I mean, sometimes with surveillance, it can be quite boring, and you'll be sitting there for hours, and you're like, "Oh God, I'm so hungry. I need the toilet as well," things like that. So,
you've got to be really friendly to be able to go to the toilet.
Exactly.
Anywhere.
Can you let me in? I'm just watching you, but I really need the toilet.
What about the mark? Will you let the mark
go
to the toilet?
Yeah.
Just trying to think of some films now where there's been loads of stuff going on. Okay, listen, we're heading towards the news. Let's have another one of your cracking tunes. This is Muse and Feeling Good. Muse. Or as I like to call them, Muse, on Radio Woking, chosen by Rebecca Senghore, tonight's private investigatory guest. Man United have taken the lead in the Champions League, half-time against Benfica. So we've been talking in this first hour, Rebecca, about being a private investigator, how you got into it. You've also been a mental health paralegal. What was that about?
Yeah, that's right. So that was basically helping detained patients that have been put on section, giving them their, informing them of their rights, seeing if we can build a case of a tribunal. Often they wanted to get out, even if it wasn't necessarily realistic, but it's exercising that right to contest your detainment. So, I mean, we meet people from all walks of life with all sorts of different disorders. Yeah, it was quite heavy going, to be honest.
Sounds like it. At this point, Sharon Ellis is the host of the Surrey HR Forum, which is about mental health. And that's on, Sharon, don't you?
Yeah.
You can say hello if you want.
Yeah, say hello.
Friday the 17th of November at the WWF UK Living Planet Centre right here in Woking. It has sold out, but there will be 150 HR professionals if you want to go. It is the subject of the moment, mental health.
Definitely.
Affects so many people. As you know, I own a life insurance business, and every third person I speak to is on some tablet or another. What's the good thing about it is now there's no shame. It used to be a real thing to not be able to talk about it. Has it taught you anything? If there's anything you've learned from what you saw in that period of your life?
Yeah, I think it's just people have such complicated backgrounds, and you see how they got to a place, and you do just want to help them, really. So, there's always a story behind everyone, I think.
Do they have a good support network, these guys? Because obviously when they're dealing with stuff like that, there might be other people you need to refer to generally, or is that half the problem?
No, that's half the problem, definitely. A lot of people came from broken, families and things like that. So, it's quite sad, really.
Yeah, start being nice to everyone, and then
exactly.
you'll have help when you really need it. Okay, so listen, coming up as well, looking towards the weekend. We've got JC, Mr. Justin Cole on Drive Time on Friday after Claire Weatherly does her breakfast show. Matt Price does dance anthems on a Friday night. I should listen to that, Matt, actually. Sorry about that. I will give it a spin. And we've got the Reggae and Ska show with the fantastic Murph Mabs. The Neil Thomas Saturday midday show. I think that's on about 12 o'clock. On a Saturday after the Dave John's breakfast show, then the sports team, and then a great show comes with MP3s and the Sunday show tunes. One of the highlights of your Sundays, if you're into that, that's at 4 o'clock. We'll be back after the news.
He's the man everyone's been talking about, Roy Allaway.
Okay, what would you like to know about being a private investigator? Rebecca Senghore is here from Answers Investigations. At Answers PI is the Twitter handle, and she will tell you everything you need to know about being a private investigator. Give us a shout. It's the Roy Allaway interview show on Radio Woking. We'll keep you updated on what's going on in the Champions League. And, of course, the guest chooses the tunes. Another cracker. Sweet Symphony and the Verve. Chelsea are 3 down in the Champions League. Have no idea what's going on there. Rebecca Senghore is here. You are my first private investigator that I've interviewed. So thank you very much for coming in and spilling the beans. So, tell us about a typical week. Do you kind of like have a worksheet, or do you go to the office and have meetings? How's it all broken down?
We go to the office, but you have no idea what to expect. Like, every week is completely different, so you have to be...
And that's an appeal for you, isn't it?
It's an appeal, but it's difficult sometimes working life around that. But yeah, no, it is an appeal, especially as I'm a night owl and a lot of surveillance is at night time. But
you're a night owl?
I'm a night owl, yeah.
And evening stuff is going to be part of what you do?
Definitely.
Weekend stuff?
Weekend stuff, yeah. Sometimes early morning, which is very difficult for me, but yeah, that's quite common.
You could just, if you're a really night out, you could just stay up late and then, do it before you go to bed.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, no, morning is quite common as well because you follow people to work. So that one's tough. But yeah, no, that's part of the appeal for me, definitely.
Yeah, brilliant. I'm just trying to think what I'd be good at. I always thought I'd be a good burglar.
Good burglar.
I'm quite small, so I can get in like small
spaces.
I don't mind climbing, so I can climb up and get in through little windows.
Yeah, I'll be after you, be taking pictures of you.
Not another stalker. Actually, I have been stalked before, actually.
Yeah, I have as well.
When I was doing the breakfast show. You have?
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're a fit girl. I'm just like a normal bloke, so I can understand people stalking you. But for me, it's not really, I don't know what they're up against. No, it was, can I talk about it? Hey, I'm pretty sure I can. No, I had a really creepy stalker when I was doing the breakfast show up in Kings Lynn. And she gave my ex-wife a present and said she was a friend of mine. And then the ex-wife came over and said, one of your friends here. I said, don't say it's Julie. And I'm like, yeah, it was. I'm like, run away. It was a teddy bear in Norwich colours for my 1-year-old son, which,
wow.
Yeah, so it wasn't too bad. It was all innocent. She was a bit special.
Yeah.
She used to take her husband to the studio when she would proposition all the presenters. It's really weird.
Just love the radio.
Yes, did. And it's an intimate medium, you know, when you're on your own and you're broadcasting and someone's listening, it's like it's the two of you.
Yeah.
And that you really rarely hear me say listeners and how's everyone doing. It's like, how are you doing? Because people do listen on their own.
Yeah, no, I'm surprisingly comfortable, actually. I thought this would be terrifying.
You've done well.
Thank you.
It's always that first link, isn't it? And then after that. So, a private investigator, and are you allowed to talk about your schedule coming up next 2 weeks? Do you know what you're doing? Or?
No, it's usually week by week. Okay. So, yeah, this week's kind of planned out. Got quite a lot of fingerprinting and then surveillance on the weekend. Next week, no idea. You kind of go in on Monday morning, make some calls, pick up any calls you've had over the weekend and book in work, and you really don't know. You could be in Morocco next weekend, you never know. Yeah, I know, you've got your fingers crossed. Is there any sort of really long cases? Like, is there any okay, this is your surveillance and it's 2 months? No, we have trackers, so we have car trackers, and they can go on for quite a while.
Was that where you put something on the car?
Yeah. It is legal, but only to put it on the person who owns its car, or they have some sort of ownership of it. So you couldn't just put it on the wife's car if they don't own part of it, something like that. But that can go on for quite a while. So we'll track it online, and they'll pay for like a month subscription, and then we'll give them feedback and let them know where their whereabouts. It is a bit sketchy, I suppose, but but it's completely legal. Well, if there's an address where and if they're using a love interest, that's exactly it. And in divorce cases and proceedings like that, it is quite important. And also employees using their vehicle for purposes they're not meant to, that kind of thing. I don't get the whole divorce thing because, by the way, celebrate my decree absolute came through this week. It's only been 8 years, but it doesn't matter whose fault it is. At the end of the day, that's not really going to affect how much everyone gets. To be honest, it doesn't really, but it's just people are angry. Yeah, I think people are really angry. Sometimes they do want to just I think it's more their own personal... I want closure, rather than the courts. The courts don't really care so much about that. No, they don't at all. And it's quite interesting that they're like, I want to tell all my friends she did this or he did this, and if you've got some proof. But it's not where the energy should be, I suspect. No, I think it is definitely more of a personal motive, which, I mean, is fair enough. But the courts don't really care about the exact details of your divorce. What would you do if you had a client who was obviously angry and almost urging you to create evidence? Is that... We've had people that are very angry, and we have had to turn them away. It's understandable. They get in these situations and they're just really upset, and they're like, oh, I just want to murder this person, and we're like, we're not assassins, so we can't help you with that. Things like that.
To assassinate. Yeah. I mean, do you have your hands on some good assassins?
We've got some contacts. No, we really don't. Nothing that inside.
Brilliant, I love it. Celtic have equalised against Bayern Munich. It's the interview show on Radio Woking. If you know someone would benefit from 2 hours talking rubbish with me and get to choose his tunes, then love promoting events, love charities, and love talking about interesting jobs like, for example, being a private investigator. And your next song, this is Zombie. Cranberries, you're listening to Radio Woking. I've got Rebecca Senghore here. She's a private investigator. You're making that up.
It does sound
It's not a real job.
It is. No, it does sound made up. I didn't realise it was real until I got it.
So I'm fascinated about everything you do. What's the score in terms of longevity of the career? Because obviously you're starting out, it's really exciting. Are you going to want to be doing it when you're 16? No offence, Nigel. Yeah. But it's a growing market.
Yeah, I think, you could kind of go into niche areas such as tracing and maybe specialise in something. I think that's probably the way to go with it. What
about social media? Is there a lot of stuff you can do using that? Is that something that comes into your game?
It definitely does. I mean, to be honest, it's one of the first steps we use of tracing. It's just an obvious one, isn't it? And if it's not there, then we use all of them.
Well, it hasn't worked with Andrew Fellows and William Hull, my two schoolmates. I'm trying to track down.
Help you. No, we can. We absolutely can. It's always our first port of call, just because it's so straightforward and most people are on there. But I mean, usually we have to go a bit more thorough and use our databases to find someone.
What if you find out something that the client hasn't asked you to look for? What happens in that situation?
Oh, that's a good question, actually. I haven't had that yet. I mean, you would definitely tell them, but I mean, it could lead to more work, which is sometimes what happens. You get unexpected results and you're like, okay, well, we need to look into this now. I mean, we had basically like a catfish case the other week. So this guy is in Australia and he thinks he's talking to like a young pretty blonde in the UK. We went there and he was given an address that she supposedly lives at and her place of work and the time she goes there. So we went there and out the door comes like a 6-year-old man. We're just so confused. We're like, is it him? Is it him that's been doing it? So there's more questions than answers there. So
I'm in Australia. I've contacted a private investigator to say, can you check out this hot chick that I'm chatting to?
Yeah.
And it's a completely different person.
No, it's the bloke in a red baseball cap with very creepy long fingernails.
How's that going to end?
I don't know. That's the thing. So
why is he doing it?
I know. That's it. There's so many questions now.
We need to sort ourselves out as a society, don't we?
We do. Just bonkers.
The weirdest thing is you're probably one of the most normal people and you're been a private investigator. Love it. Any questions? We'd love to hear from you at Radio Woking or studio@radiowoking.co.uk. That's Paper Planes, MIA. You're listening to Radio Woking. I'm joined by Rebecca. She is a private investigator. Who's your boss? Is it Nigel, or do you Nigel, work with some of the other guys?
I don't know. They're in different offices located in different parts of the country. But it's talk to them on the phone. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Has there been a situation where you've all supported each other? It's been a big case and 4 or 5 of you have come together?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. There are cases like that. We had...
Wow.
Yeah, no, we had a homeless guy who'd inherited a load of money and all we had is his name to go by in Southampton. It was a really
so the lawyer
name.
Was trying to find the...
Yeah. The lawyer had a really sort of personal interest in it as well. I don't know why. They just sort of got attached to it and they were willing to spend quite a lot of money for us to literally interview tramps in...
Well, they were spending his money.
Well, yeah, but I mean...
Okay.
I mean, he had...
Let's say lawyers aren't that generous.
Yeah, that's
no offence, lawyers.
Yeah.
Lots of lovely client lawyers. What a brilliant case. And listen, did you sort it? Did you find it?
There was like 4 or 5 of us. We went to Southampton and we were handing out posters, interviewing all the homeless people. Fortunately, no. It's such a generic name as well. Surname was Brown, so...
Oh, my God. Bobby.
Yeah, poor Bobby Brown.
Bobby Brown. So if you guys know Mr. Brown, who had some family, away. And this guy, I mean, if he's homeless, it will change his life.
Exactly, but he is very old. I think it'd probably be very confused because they'd probably think it's a prank, wouldn't he? So, I mean, he's like in his 80s, I think, which is very old.
Is it a significant amount of money?
Yeah.
And he had older people than him. Why didn't they look after him when he was alive?
I don't know.
Families, people. Why are we so horrible?
I know.
Let's get an update on that shooting in America. Another one. Hopefully it's not too bad. It's not too serious. Oh, my God. 6 dead. Yeah. There was no dead when we first reported this. The guy's driven into some cyclists and then had a gun out the window. When are they going to learn? In the Champions League, something's wrong at Chelsea. Could be 4 down, but it's still 3-0 down at Roma. Man United going better. And, of course, tomorrow night, the fantastic Tottenham against Real Madrid. It is the interview show with me, Roy Allaway, and the guest does choose the tunes. And, actually, these songs are so good, we need to crack through them. So we need some help, actually, because we're trying to find the Arctic Monkeys one that sounds like Mardy Bum.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I got that right.
I don't think you have got that right. While we're waiting for that, we'll play the jam. Yeah, sing it. She studied law. She's doing a master's in some kind of law thing. What are you doing?
It's just generic law, actually. It's just LLM, which is just Masters of Law.
And why are you doing that? Just to link to your career, or maybe something in the future?
I did think I wanted to be a lawyer, but I don't know.
So you're still doing the masters? Keep your options open.
Yeah, keep the options open.
And there is a tie-in with what you're doing.
Yeah, there's definitely a massive tie-in. Yeah, so it's really relevant. Is there an area of what you're doing that you would like to explore more? I think you mentioned tracing. Yeah, definitely tracing. I think that's kind of the way forward, especially with everything on the computer as well. Nowadays, everything's out there. It's such a useful skill. So yeah. What about like self-defense or something like that, just in case something did kick off? I was actually thinking about that. Yeah. Have you been given some basic skills, or it's something you're going to learn yourself? I did a yellow belt in karate when I was a kid, so you know. I did yellow belt in karate, then I broke my arm playing football and stopped doing it. Yeah, I think I. So you did the old kata? Yeah, that was it. Ishni Sanshi. God bless you. Remember the rest. Bless you. Yeah, I just what would I be interested in? What would I be finding out? I'm really lucky. There's never been in my friends and family circle, no one's ever really cheated on anyone. I know it goes on quite extensively. It does, yeah. The weirdest thing is you get there are two people having an affair, and then we get one of the people in the affair asking us to investigate the other person in the affair to check they're not having another affair, even though they know they're married or something like that. Yeah, exactly. So it's like it becomes some very large love triangle thing, or sequential, or whatever. Yeah, I was trying to think of the word for that. So why would they? I think because they're going to leave their current partner for their affair partner. They need to make sure. But they want to check their affair partners not have another. And sure, that's a massive risk if you're going to change your life for someone that you've met via cheating. Yeah, exactly. That's always going to hang over you, surely. That they're not cheating as well. It's always going to hang over you. Yeah, I would say so. Oh my God. And what, when someone's been caught, have they tried to cover their tracks, or have they get quite angry? And we've had a couple of negative online reviews from them, and we're like, that's what, the people you've actually investigated and caught? Yeah. I mean, how stupid are they? Yeah, I know, it's quite funny. Like exposing themselves as they've been. They're furious about our work. So when you have a negative online review, can you reply, well, yeah, we did catch you cheating? I think that has happened in the past, yeah. Facebook.com/Radio Woking or studio@radiowoking.co.uk if you want to get involved. Rebecca is here, a charming private investigator, and it's her tunes. I've chosen a song for her, which is Private Eyes by Holidays. Can't wait to hear that. This is, before that though, this is the Dandy Warhols and Bohemian Like You. Listen to Roy Allaway. Dandy Warhols and Bohemian Like You on Radio Woking. So with your workload coming up and your surveillance and stuff like that, I guess sometimes you're going to be out longer than you envisage, or how does it work? Do you know that you're just going to survey for 2 hours, or how does that work? Well, that's it, isn't it? So sometimes, you can't predict people's movements, and you end up in places you're like, how the hell did I get here? Because especially if it's cheating people, they're going to lie and tell you they're doing one thing. You get there and they're going off and doing something else, and you're going to a different end of London. So, sometimes you can end up going out till quite late and things like that, and following. And when do you draw the line as well? You followed them around for 24 hours, you know. So it's quite exciting in that aspect.
Yeah, so where do you draw the line? So say they get to a house at 8 o'clock, you don't know if they've tucked in for the night or they're there for an hour, especially if it's not a house that you're aware of on the address. Well, you just play it by ear, do you?
Play it by ear, yes.
Charge by the hour? How does that work?
We do charge by the hour, but I like to keep in touch with the clients while I'm doing the work, especially if nothing is going on. It's not really fair just keep sitting out there.
So give them the option, say, look, I'm at this address, do you want me to stay?
Yeah.
Oh,
exactly. Yeah. After a few hours, I'd call it a day and say, "Look, we'll come back another time and see if we can get some."
You don't give them the option there and then.
Yeah, I can do. Yeah, sometimes I'll ask, "Do you want me to continue?" Obviously, not a lot's been going on. It's a bit boring for everyone, really. So, you really don't know till you get there. Some people, I'll say, you know, do you want to cap this at a certain amount of time? And if they've got specific directions, that's really helpful.
Yeah. Have you been rumbled yet?
No, I had one where I was getting on several buses as the person, which it just got too much to be a coincidence. I don't think he realised, but I think he noticed that I was on the same buses, and he was like, that's a bit weird. But yeah, I think I called it a day there because I just thought, you know what, it's not worth the risk. But it's just knowing when to sort of call it a day.
And do you wear disguises? So for example, if you were following have you got like a jacket you can turn inside out, or headwear? Because you've got quite a distinctive look.
I have, haven't I? Yeah.
Once you were told you look a bit like Amy Winehouse.
I do remember.
I'm sorry.
That, right?
All right, I'm sorry. Had a lot of beer that day. Don't even like Amy Winehouse.
I never had that one before. No, I tend to carry around sort of accessories, like maybe like a clipboard or something like that.
Okay.
So
guys, like a mega geek.
Yeah, especially if you've got to go up to the door and ask a question. If you want to establish that they live there, you want an excuse to knock and say, "Are you so and so?"
So once you've gone on there and say, "Hi, I'm doing a survey."
Yeah, that's the classic one, survey. So,
and then you ask a few questions, and then
sneakily get that question in. Oh, so are you so and so?
It's like an exit poll for the election.
Yeah,
or
if you ever get one of those, I'd question it now.
Yeah. Well, I'm one of the things I love doing is talking to Jehovah's Witnesses, and we had one the other.
That's a good one. I hadn't thought of that.
Well, we had one come round, and my sons were there, and I said, "Boys, come and chat to this gentleman." It was two of them, and I took them round the back, and we sat down, and oh my God, the boys were pissing themselves. Some of the stuff I was asking them about, you know, God and everything, it was just hilarious. So yeah, cool. Well, listen, don't get caught.
No, I won't.
All right, fantastic. She's a professional. Right, that's that song I promised you. We'll play it after these messages. Hall & Oates, Private Eyes. I chose that one, but you said no. It's a bit well-known song for the private investigatory world. Is there like a private investigating awards? You know, do you like have get-togethers? Is there conferences? Is there expertise?
There is the World Association of Private Investigators and the British Association of Private Investigators, but no, we don't really get together.
WAPI.
Yeah, you're right. WAPI, yeah.
I just sounded funny. I can't believe that's there.
I thought you knew it.
Oh yeah, I'm president.
Yeah, WAPI.
What about drones and stuff? Are you using all them?
No, it's not that modern yet.
Whoa, what are you talking about? They're taking over.
They are taking over, but no, we're not in control of them yet. We'll get to that.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So we were just talking about a particular scenario. So would you like to expand on that? That sounds pretty interesting.
So it was just this guy who called up. He got in a bit of a pickle. Basically, he put some pictures of his parts on online dating site, but he was married, and the woman that he sent the pictures to found out he was married, got angry, started blackmailing him, and he basically wanted to put a stop to it. So what we do is we can kind of compile the evidence that she's been blackmailing him, and we confronted her and told her to stop because it's illegal.
So the guy that was sending his private parts, he went to you rather than going to official lines.
Yeah, that's it. He wanted to keep it discreet. He was actually quite a well-known heart surgeon, so he was quite accomplished in his field, but not very good with.
So did he have nice parts?
I didn't actually get to see any pictures. No.
Okay. So I've recently been online dating. I'm not anymore, and I went on a few dates with nice girls, and they said that does happen. Like blokes will just send pictures of their bits. What's all that about?
I don't know. I've had that before, and I was like, "Hi," and they'll get a picture of that. And bye. Not sure. Not sure why guys do that.
It's a bit weird.
It is a bit weird.
I mean, I would just get mine off in a pub, so I wouldn't even need to send pictures out. You know, there's already masses out there. Come on, fellas, sort your stuff out. Right, we've got the Arctic Monkeys, and this is Mardy Bum. I'm looking for this because I didn't believe the name of it, but it's a cool song. Well, you would say that you chose it. Yeah. Here we go. This is Mardy Bum on Radio Woking. Mardy Bum, the Arctic Monkeys. Yeah, that was my least favourite of your songs tonight, but you like that one, didn't you?
Very sorry, I do like that one, yeah.
Champions League's finished for the night. Roma 3, Chelsea 0. Manchester United have won 2-0 against Benfica. And Celtic, unfortunately, conceding one at the end against against Bayern Munich. It's 2-1 down. Barcelona drawing 0-0 with Olympiacos. So Rebecca Senghore is here. She is a private investigator. Fascinating. So we talked about what you're doing now, your journey to get here. Give the old company a plug and tell everyone what kind of stuff you're looking for.
Yeah, so if you need help with any personal or corporate matters, so say marital, inheritance, child custody disputes, we can help with that. If you need surveillance, we're always available to carry it out night and day. Just give us a call on 01483 200 999.
Oh, I like it, 999.
999.
It's like the 6th emergency service.
It is. You might as well add us on there.
Happy days.
Or you can contact us on our Twitter handle at AnswersPI.
It's not Magnum PI.
It's Answers
not Magnum PI, and that's Answers Investigators.
That is
you're on
Answers
Facebook
Investigation. Yep,
and all that sort of stuff.
All that jazz.
Fantastic. You were at the Woking Business Show. Do you think you got anything out of that?
Yeah, it was interesting. Met some very interesting people. Couple of old law firms that we got back in touch with. No, it was very good.
Yeah, fantastic. Okay, one more from you, and then we'll wrap the show up for tonight. Chemical Brothers, go! You're listening to Allaway on Radio Woking. I'm off for a couple of weeks for my sins. I'll be at a stag do in Miami next week, so I might never come back. And then the week after, I've got a conference. So Tim Mitchell will be coming in to look after the ropes and look after you guys. I want to thank Rebecca for coming in tonight. Well done. Very good interview. Good luck with all your private investigations.
Thank you.
Don't be afraid to give her a shout, guys, if you need some help. What do you do? What are you doing the next few days? Have you got something lined up?
No, mostly fingerprints, which is always exciting.
So when you go in, what kind of services do you look for? Glasses? Do you look for? Oh
yeah, absolutely.
Desks?
Yeah. Absolutely anything. Paper documents. You get a lot of malicious mail. That's quite a common one. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any tips for people not wanting to get caught?
Wear gloves. Just I don't just be
stay off social media. You've come off social media?
I have, yeah. To keep up the disguise.
Yeah. You're incognito.
Exactly.
Rebecca Senghore, thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you for having me. That's
Rebecca. As you said, I'll see you in a couple of weeks. And don't forget, tomorrow night we've got the festival feature with Alex Tompkins, and then We Love Woking with Jackie and the Fabulouses are here. That's it from me. Good night. I'll see you soon.